Hey, what is up guys? This is Self-elected Apeoftheyear once again, and today I'm gonna do another video about the situation contact visibility in the game IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad. So I'm doing this video because I think I was a little bit too harsh in my last video and I did forget some aspects of the whole thing. Nevertheless, I think that the last video pointed out that many people feel the same way, but I think that I need to do another video where I'm going to put it all a little bit more into an empirical, objective position, because I think that I did a little bit of a too subjectively. I did do some mistakes. I was a little bit too fast when doing the video and I forgot some things. I forgot to point out something. And on top of that, yeah, I don't have a problem with acknowledging that I did a mistake, and I think I did it a little bit too fast. I forgot about some things. So right here, as you see, I'm already you know, this whole thing is a recorded track. It's a mission that I just flew, and you can enable and disable the indicators. So we exactly see the distance we have to the enemy plane, and we're going to use that. I'm going to use that to show you guys how the contact visibility is right now. And first of all, I want to say, and this is a very, very useful tip for some of you guys, I think. After the last video, I saw some entries in a forum on the IL-2 Sturmovik page, and in these forums there were some screenshots. And these screenshots really made me wonder whether it has to do something with the settings, or maybe it's even a hardware-related issue. And I searched the internet for some tips and tricks to increase the contact visibility in Battle of Stalingrad, and I came up, or I found one very, very useful thing, and this is in your options, in your settings, go to the gamma correction and make sure that it's on the lowest possible setting. So it should be something like 0.8. And if you put it on 0.8, this is really helping out a lot. At least for me. At least my impression is that with the lower gamma correction, or however this is called, you have better results in spotting contacts. But on top of that, I did some claims in the last video that I want to correct here a little bit. And in addition, I want to point out some additional stuff that I did forget and that I didn't mention. And nevertheless, I think that the last video pointed out that very many people have issues with the contact visibility in this game. But in this video right here, I want to show that it's not as bad as I originally said in the last video. Let me just take a drink. So, the issue is the following. First of all, in the last video, I said that people are popping up into existence at a distance of 4 kilometers. So this is not really true. You see right here, he's going to be, no, this guy right here, let's take a look at him without the indicators. He's now at around 4 kilometers, and at this distance you perfectly see this plane, you know? And the impression of thinking that people might pop into existence at 4 kilometers has a lot to do with the aspect that I forgot to mention in the last video. The contact visibility in this game is as difficult as it is, also because of the weather and the lighting situation. In the last video, for example, we were flying at a situation where the weather and the whole the lighting situation and everything was very, very unadvantageously, because it was very low sitting sun, and it was very misty. It was there were lots of clouds, and this kind of helps to get the impression that people are only visible at 4 kilometers or less. This is not really a fault of the developers. It is kind of ironically the case that they are doing their job too good. They are making realistic impressions and physical phenomena happening regarding, for example, the light source in relation to you and the spot that you, or the contact that you want to spot. This is really important in the way that the dot is going to be shown, and I will show you this in this video in addition. That these developers are kind of like doing it too good. And right here we got the first contact, 4 kilometers. Light source is right here, he's right there. This dot is very well visible. He would have been at this position, he would have been kind of already visible at further distances, but on top of that we see that this horizon, this glare, it's kind of overshining that dot, and even at these smaller distances it makes it kind of difficult for people to see. But this is not, this is not a criticism, or it's not bad, but kind of they are doing it too good. They need to tone this maybe down a little bit, or make it easier for people. And I will talk about this topic a little bit later, the whole balance between realism and gameplay ideas, So this guy, it's P40, spotting him, taking a look at him, these distances below 4 kilometers, everything is fine about that, I said that he was on the horizon, which made it additionally a little bit harder to see him, spotting a contact on the horizon in this glare at something like 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers is extremely hard in this game. And this will bring me to the few corrections, or the few inputs that I want to make, or this little bit of my 2 cents, what I would change. If I would have the power to change things, and I would have something to say with this simulation, I would tell that, having this balance between doing it perfectly in the way of simulating the physical ways of lighting effects and stuff like that, I think it would be a good idea to tone that down a little bit, make it a little bit easier, even though it's not as realistic. Just because it's going to enhance the gameplay experience for people. And in the last video I forgot about these aspects, that it's actually very well done. I forgot to say that. But you have the bad weather at bad light source situation. You have the impression that people are popping up into existence at 4 kilometers. This is not the case. I tested it right here with the whole indicator thing. And actually people are shown at 10 kilometers. They are not popping up into existence at 4. So I did a mistake there. But nevertheless, feels like it when the weather is bad and when the light is coming from a certain direction in relation to you and the target that you want to spot. So this still is a big problem. And I think the last video that I did has shown that many people agree with that, even though it's not 100% like I said it in the last video. Like I said, I did it a little bit not accurate enough. So, what do I think right now? And we will see this with the indicators on in just a moment. So my impression right now is that the contact visibility right now at 10 kilometers distance is popping up at 10 kilometers. It's, like I said, it's not happening at 4, but it's happening at 10. I underestimated that number. I had a subjective misinterpretation of the distances. I thought it was a little bit different than it actually is. Yet still, we still have this popping up issue. And I think that it should be possible to spot contacts at further distances, even though 10 kilometers is already a step in the right direction. It's a lot better than 6 kilometers. I think it should be something like 15 or even more. Or people can argue that this is not realistic, that you will not spot a Messerschmitt or a small fighter plane at 15 kilometers. But I would say that it is possible if this plane is reflecting light, you know. Now, of course, these planes have camouflage, they have skin, they are painted in a way so they are not reflecting as much light, but still the glass shields, the glass canopies of the planes are still going to reflect light, and they are even going to blink in real life. And many pilots, I've spoken to some real pilots, and they say that you definitely can spot even a smaller plane, extremely high distances. And for example, if you take a look at, like I said in another video, if you take a look at a commercial plane, it's flying at 10 kilometers altitude and maybe away from your eyes something like 20-25 kilometers, and you are still able to see this plane because it is reflecting light. And of course it's a lot bigger than a World War II fighter, yet still it doesn't make that much of a difference if a small light spot is a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, you're still going to see it. So just to take a step in this direction, what I want to point out here, that I think that 10 kilometers should be increased to about 15, 17 kilometers maybe. And top of that, and we will see this in this video too, the issue might be not as bad as I made it look like in my last video, but still, at 7 or 8 kilometers the dot is just too small. I mean, maybe the developers have a reason to do that. Maybe they want to increase the chances for people to do bombing runs, be sneaking up on targets unexpected or not seen, you know. So of course everything has two sides, you know. You always can take a look at things from different perspectives, and what's an advantage for the one guy is a disadvantage for the other. Now here, once again, see this dot here, I spotted him when I flew. It's spotted him at 5 to 4 kilometers, and right here the dot is absolutely okay. It's like I said, it depends also a lot on the lighting situation on the server that you are playing on. At a different light situation, I would not have been able to spot this guy that early. I maybe would have even have problems right now. It really depends on your position, his position, the relation from the light sources to the glare of the horizon and all this physical stuff. Like I said, it's very, very well done in this regard, but I think it's been done too good. They should make it a little bit easier for people, you know, and I think that many people share this impression that it's a little bit too hard. And on the other hand, you know, it's not only an issue for the developers, it's also a big issue for the people that are running the servers to make sure that the weather situation is not too bad, and that the sun is high enough and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, the developers did a very good job of simulating maybe the truth, but in a gameplay aspect, this is a little bit problematic in some regards. So this was also not the kind of contact, you know, 4 kilometers, everything is okay at this distance. I'm not saying anything against it, it's working perfectly, good map, good lighting situation, the sun is high enough and stuff like that, like I always repeat it myself. This is all okay, but the end here, we are going to have some impressions where we are going to see the contacts at maximum distances. And like I said, right here we have the perfect condition to spot contacts. But still, this is going to be a good point to figure, or to point it out, what I mean at dot is just too small at maximum distances. We just will have to have a little bit more of patience, because there's going to be another engagement soon. And this will show perfectly what I mean with the dot should be just a little bit bigger at maximum distances. So here's my constructive criticism. I think that the visibility range of contacts should be increased to at least 15 kilometers, maybe even more. No, my argument is the same. with the whole thing. It's a balance between realism and gameplay, and I think one should take a little bit more a step in the direction of gameplay here. On top of that, because you know you cannot really simulate this real working, this real art or way of working of the real human eye, and the kind of with light reflections and stuff like that. You cannot really simulate that accurately, so you know, take a step more, a bit more in the direction of gameplay. That's what I really wanted to say with that. On top of that, we will see this soon. The dot is too small at maximum distances, and think there's going to be a contact popping up soon. We pop up right here somewhere. Like I said, this is the actual head movement that I did when I was flying. Yeah, he was popping up now. 9 kilometers. The lighting situation right now is perfect, you know. The sun is more or less not in front of me, but behind me. So you have this effect that you have with a camera when you point your camera in a light source, or if you are in a dark room and you want to make a picture of outside where it's bright, you're not going to have a good picture. And at the other way around, it works much better. You know, this kind of realism aspect is very well done in this game, and if you are looking at the right direction regarding the relation from the light source, you can see somebody at 10 kilometers distance. But nevertheless, no, I did not, when I was actually I did not see that guy. The dot was so small, even though this was a good situation for the dot to appear. You definitely could see it if you were looking at the right spot, if you had this indicator there. But for your human eye to make out this this movement of the small dot, it was too small. It was, you know, it's just really at the maximum distance. It's really just it feels like it's just a single pixel, and a single pixel is a little bit. Maybe it's not enough, you know. No, take a look at this guy. I don't want to. Oh, for example, I could now, with Alt and F1, I could change my head direction and take a look at this guy, but then zoom is not going to work anymore at that point. So we will have to wait a little bit longer. He's going to be showing up soon again, pretty sure. Yeah. Here's another guy. You know, this guy is 7 kilometers. Dot is practically not visible. It is visible, definitely, yeah. But for a normal human being to spot this dot, a little bit, you know, help the people a little bit more to be able to spot these dots. I mean, here, take a look at that. I mean, on YouTube you're probably, on top of that, even more not able to see that. But, here I could have seen him. At 7 kilometers it was kind of okay. And yeah, how do I put it in a nutshell? You know, it's just, I feel like the dot should be increased in size at maximum distances. The maximum distance itself should be increased on top of that, so to have this whole popping up issue not as prevalent as it is right now. And I mean, navigating and everything on this map, it's kind of hard. This is a criticism point. I mean, this is a challenge to navigate in a map without lots of features where you can really distinguish where you are. I mean, it's also the artwork of the map, you know. If you for example, you take a look at a patch of a forest and you want to find out where you are, the actual map, when you open the map, I cannot show you this right here, but if you take a look at the map is more like an artist impression of the thing, and it's not a one-to-one real copy of the whole thing. So this artist impression might a little bit differ. And right here, for example, we have another good lighting situation, you know. I saw this guy, I remember that I saw this guy at 7 kilometers, but sometimes you have these situations where you see people at, the dot is so absurdly small that it's really not possible for people to see that. I mean, at least not without the indicators, you will never find him, you know. And I spotted this guy right away at 7 kilometers distance, so I guess the contact visibility is as intended, but I just think that they should maybe intend it a little bit more towards the gameplay aspect of being able to spot people a little bit earlier. So yeah, this is just what I wanted to point out. So first of all, go into your options, reduce the gamma correction. This is really going to help. I mean, I probably wouldn't have spotted this guy without this tip, or without this this change. Next thing is, yeah, it's really very important to acknowledge that it has a lot to do with the weather situation. You know, right here we have clear skies, we don't have much mist, we have a high standing sun and stuff like that. It really helps out too. So it's more or less kind of like it's not only dependent on the developers, it depends a lot on the people that are setting up the servers. So the contact visibility is going to be good enough, you know. And like I scratched it before, some people like it like that. Some people want to be very, you know, kind of like hidden if they want to make a bombing run. And maybe this is a reason for the developers that they say, we want it like that, so people can make bombing attacks and stuff like that. Yeah, what's the advantage for one can be the disadvantage for the other, and you know, maybe it's done on that on purpose, I don't know. But, yet still, I think, and this is the last thing I want to say right here, is I think that the success of the game could be drastically improved if people would have more more chances to spot people better, you know. Even though it's not as harsh, it's not as bad as I originally said, and in addition to that, kind of an idiot, I forgot to take a look at my fuel, and now my engine is going to shut itself off because I'm out of fuel. This is something that you always can forget if you fly in this game. The G2, it uses up a lot more fuel than the E4, gives it over other simulations. So yeah, I'm kind of an idiot to forget about that. Yeah, but this was a self-elected Ape of the Year. Wanted to make this whole thing a little bit more detailed. Increasing the distance of the dot being rendered would be nice, and it should be a little bit bigger. So, self-elected Ape of the Year, signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.